First contact protocols failed. Senior observer Thrix Nut stood motionless before the massive observation window of Outpost Station Gamma 12, her crystalline appendages reflecting the dim starlight. For 300 cycles, she had monitored this section of dead space, the region officially designated as the Void Sector. No one expected anything interesting to happen here. That's why they sent observers nearing retirement to this post. Until today. Senior observer, the energy signatures are increasing again, reported junior observer Kell, his voice trembling with excitement. They're following the same geometric patterns we detected last week. Thrixna's sensory crystals vibrated with anticipation. Show me the latest readings. The holographic display materialized between them, showing impossible data. Energy patterns that shouldn't exist in the dead zone were forming perfect hexagonal grids across thousands of light years. More disturbing were the regular pulses of gravimetric distortion, signs of organized space travel. Have you verified the equipment? She asked, already knowing the answer. They'd been checking and rechecking their instruments for days. 17 times, Senior. These readings are real. Thrixna moved to her communication console, her crystalline form catching the light from nearby stars. After 3 centuries of nothing, she was about to trigger the first contact protocols. Her appendages hesitated over the controls. Once she sent this alert, everything would change. She pressed the transmit sequence. Within hours, the Galactic Council's first contact fleet arrived, led by Fleet Commander Voxren aboard the dreadnought Eternal Vigilance. The massive ship's sensors immediately confirmed what Outpost Gamma 12 had detected, sophisticated technology operating throughout a sector that was supposed to be dead. Impossible, Voxren muttered, his scaled face reflecting the tactical displays. The Void Sector has radiation levels that should prevent any advanced civilization from developing. Nothing could survive there, let alone thrive. His science officer, Lon Tai, stepped forward, her feathered crest rising with excitement. Commander, we're detecting thousands of artificial structures, cities, space stations, energy collection arrays, all perfectly adapted to harness the very radiation that should be killing them. Before Voxren could respond, a new alert blared through the bridge. Multiple vessels approaching, called out the tactical officer. They're emerging from hyperspace using technology we've never seen before. The crew watched in stunned silence as hundreds of ships materialized before them. They were beautiful, their hulls seeming to absorb and redirect the deadly radiation of the Void Sector. The largest of them was easily twice the size of the Eternal Vigilance. We're receiving a transmission, announced the communications officer. It's in perfect standard galactic. Voxren straightened his uniform. Put it through. A figure appeared on the main view screen, causing gasps across the bridge. It looked remarkably similar to many of the oxygen-breathing species in the galaxy, but with subtle differences that spoke of evolution in isolation. Its skin had a peculiar iridescence, likely an adaptation to the Void Sector's radiation. Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Council. I am Admiral Rakesh Sharma of the United Human Systems. We've been watching your observation post for some time, waiting for the right moment to make contact. We believe that moment has arrived. Voxren found himself struggling to maintain his diplomatic composure. You've been watching us. Admiral Sharma smiled. Just as you've been watching our sector. Though I suspect we've learned more about you than you have about us. We've had 3 centuries to study your civilization while developing our own. The radiation that kept you away provided us with the perfect environment to grow, to innovate, to become something unique in the galaxy. But how did you survive? Lon Tai couldn't contain her scientific curiosity. The radiation levels became our greatest asset, Sharma finished. Early in our development, we discovered ways to not just survive the radiation, but to harness it. It powers our cities, enhances our technology, and has become part of our biology. What you see as a dead zone, we see as a garden of unlimited potential. Voxren's tactical training kicked in, analyzing the implications, a civilization that had developed in complete isolation, using technology fundamentally different from anything the Council knew. A civilization that had been watching them, learning about them, while remaining hidden in plain sight. "Why reveal yourselves now?" he asked. Admiral Sharma's expression grew serious. "Because what's coming affects us all. We've detected something approaching the galaxy, something that emerged from the space between galaxies. We believe our unique development in the void sector has prepared us to face this threat, but we'll need the Council's help." As if to emphasize his words, new data began streaming across the Eternal Vigilance's sensors. The human ships were freely sharing their sensor readings, showing something massive moving through intergalactic space. Voxren realized that everything was about to change. The galaxy's power structure, its technological development, its understanding of what was possible. All of it would be transformed by the emergence of these humans from their radiation-soaked cradle. "Admiral Sharma," he said formally, "I believe we have much to discuss." The human admiral nodded. "Indeed we do, Commander. Indeed we do. The galaxy is about to enter a new age, and humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. The question is the Galactic Council ready for us?" As Voxren looked at his crew's awestruck faces, he knew the honest answer was no. The Council wasn't ready. How could they be? But ready or not, humanity had emerged from the void sector, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Silicon Prophecy. Grand Archivist Nixvel shuffled through the ancient crystalline archives beneath the Galactic Council's headquarters on Capital Prime. Her tentacles carefully handled the delicate data crystals, some of them nearly as old as the Council itself. After the news of humanity's emergence from the void sector had spread, she'd remembered something, a fragment of prophecy recorded by the long-extinct Silicon Seers. "It has to be here," she muttered, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with frustration. "The prophecy of the Void Children." Behind her, Junior Archivist Pel Rin watched nervously. The appearance of the humans had thrown the entire Council into chaos. Some species called for immediate military action, while others wanted to establish diplomatic relations. The debate had been raging for days. Finally, one of Nixvel's tentacles froze over a particular crystal. Found it. The crystal glowed as she placed it in the reader, and ancient holographic text shimmered in the air before them. "From the void that none may enter, they will emerge. Born of radiation's embrace, wielding the impossible, seeing paths unseen. When the darkness between stars grows hungry, only the children of the void may light the way." Pel Rin's spots flickered with surprise. That's describing the humans. The Silicon Seers wrote this 10,000 years ago. Before they transcended into pure energy, yes. Nixvel studied the text carefully. They knew someone would evolve in the void sector. They knew they would be important. The Archive's communication panel chimed. "Grand Archivist," a voice announced, "your presence is requested in Emergency Council Session 47B. Please bring any relevant historical data regarding the void sector." High above the archives, the Council chamber was in an uproar. Representatives from 1,000 species filled the circular hall, their voices creating a cacophony of arguments and demands. At the center of the chamber, Admiral Sharma stood calmly alongside his diplomatic team, their radiation-touched skin subtly glowing under the chamber's lights. Council leader Genko, a being of pure thought housed in a mechanical shell, raised their hands for silence. "We have received disturbing confirmation of the humans' warning. Our long-range sensors have detected massive objects moving through intergalactic space, exactly as they described." "Convenient timing," shouted Representative Aix of the Warrior Clades. "They emerge from isolation and immediately claim a threat approaches. This is obviously a ploy." Admiral Sharma stepped forward. "We understand your skepticism. We've had centuries to prepare for this moment, while you've had mere days to adjust to our existence. But what's coming doesn't care about politics or trust. The Void's children must fulfill their purpose." A murmur ran through the chamber. Grand Archivist Nixvel seized her moment, slithering forward with the prophecy crystal. "Admiral, what do you know of the Silicon Seers?" "We found their ruins deep in the void sector," Sharma replied. "Their technology helped us understand how to harness the radiation. They left us messages, warnings." Nixvel activated the crystal, displaying the prophecy for all to see. The chamber fell silent as the ancient words hung in the air. "We didn't evolve in the void sector by accident," continued Sharma. "The Silicon Seers engineered the radiation patterns, created the conditions for our development. They saw what was coming and knew the galaxy would need a species adapted to exist in conditions others found impossible." Council leader Zhenko's mechanical form hummed thoughtfully. "What exactly is approaching, Admiral?" "We call them void leviathans, massive beings that live in the space between galaxies, feeding on radiation and dark energy. Usually they pass by galaxies without interest, but something has changed their behavior. They're hungry, and they're coming here." The tactical display activated, showing the humans' sensor data. Enormous shapes moved through the darkness, each one larger than a solar system. Traditional weapons would be useless against such entities. "The radiation they emit is similar to what we've adapted to survive," explained Sharma. "We can approach them, communicate with them, and if necessary, fight them. But we'll need the Council's resources and cooperation." The Silicon Seers knew that only by working together could we face this threat. Representative AX scoffed. "A convenient story. And if we refuse to cooperate, then we'll face them alone," Sharma replied calmly. "But the Seers' prophecy suggests that would lead to failure. They didn't help humanity evolve just so we could watch the galaxy be devoured." Grand Archivist Nixvel slithered forward again. "There's more in the archives about the Seers' plan. They didn't just engineer humanity's evolution. They created a technological legacy hidden throughout the void sector. Technology that would only work in the hands of those adapted to the radiation, which we've spent centuries learning to use." Sharma nodded. "But it works better with your technologies. The Seers designed it that way, forcing cooperation between their chosen children and the greater galactic community." Council leader Zhenko's mechanical form projected an aura of decision. "We will vote on whether to form an alliance with humanity against this threat. But first, Admiral Sharma, show us these void leviathans. Show us what humanity has been preparing to fight for 300 years. The chamber's main holographic display activated, and everyone gasped. The images showed creatures of impossible size and complexity, their forms seeming to bend reality around them. They moved with terrible purpose toward the galaxy, leaving trails of consumed radiation in their wake. As the council representatives stared at the approaching threat, many began to understand why the Silicon Seers had gone to such lengths to prepare for this moment. The question was no longer whether to trust humanity, but whether the galaxy could afford not to. The prophecy's words still hung in the air. Only the children of the void may light the way. Diplomatic dance. The diplomatic vessel, Harmony Bridge, drifted in neutral space between the council fleet and the human armada. Inside, Ambassador Indira Patil sat across from Council Representative Trelzax, their meeting marking the first official diplomatic talks between humanity and the Galactic Council. "Your adaptation to radiation is remarkable," Trelzax said, his crystalline form refracting the room's light. "But surely you understand our concerns. 300 years of secret development, technologies we can barely comprehend, and now these void leviathans." Indira smiled, her iridescent skin catching the light. "Just as we understand your skepticism about the Silicon Seers' prophecy. But consider this. We could have emerged from the void sector at any time in the past century. We chose now because the threat is real." Before Trelzax could respond, alarms blared through the ship. A junior diplomat rushed in. "Extremist attack. The Purity Coalition is targeting the human diplomatic fleet." Through the viewport, they watched as a group of heavily armed ships emerged from stealth, their weapons targeting the human vessels. But instead of returning fire, the human ships simply absorbed the energy attacks, their hulls gleaming with redistributed power. Fascinating, Trelzax whispered. Your defensive capabilities are entirely non-aggressive, Indira finished. We could return fire, but that would only validate their fears. Watch. The attacking ships exhausted their weapon energy, leaving them vulnerable. Rather than counterattacking, the human vessels extended energy fields around the hostile ships, holding them in place without causing damage. A demonstration of restraint, Trelzax noted. And power. Power we hope to share, Indira said. The Silicon Seers left us more than prophecies. They left blueprints for integration, for combining Council technology with what we developed in the Void sector. But it only works if we collaborate. The door chimed, and Admiral Sharma entered with Council Leader Genko. The mechanical being's sensors whirred as they analyzed the aftermath of the attack. The Purity Coalition has been contained, Genko announced, though I fear they represent a wider concern among our people. Fear of change, Sharma nodded. We anticipated this. That's why we're proposing the integration protocol. Indira activated a holographic display, showing complex technological schematics. The Seers designed their legacy to require both human and Council participation. Their technology responds to our radiation adaptation, but needs Council quantum matrices to achieve full potential. A failsafe, Trelzax realized. Forcing cooperation. Exactly, Sharma confirmed. The Void Leviathans approach, but we have time. Time to prove ourselves, to demonstrate that humanity's emergence isn't a threat, but an opportunity. The display shifted to show the first detected Leviathan, its massive form distorting space itself. Our scientists estimate 3 months before they reach the galaxy's edge. We propose a joint research initiative. Let us show you how to merge our technologies. Let us prepare together. Genko's mechanical form hummed thoughtfully. And what of the extremists? On both sides. There are humans who oppose contact too, Indira admitted, who think we should face the Leviathans alone. But they're a minority. Most of us have waited generations for this moment. A new alert sounded. More ships approaching. But these weren't attackers. They were research vessels from various Council worlds, responding to an invitation from both human and Council leadership. The first volunteers, Sharma smiled. Scientists who care more about discovery than fear. Shall we begin? Over the next weeks, the neutral zone became a hub of unprecedented cooperation. Human radiation technology merged with Council quantum systems, creating innovations neither civilization had dreamed possible. The Seers' legacy came alive under their combined efforts, revealing defenses and capabilities that would be crucial in the coming crisis. But more importantly, barriers began to fall. Council scientists marveled at humanity's intuitive grasp of radiation physics. Human researchers eagerly absorbed millennia of Council technological development. Personal bonds formed, transcending species differences. Indira watched from the observation deck as another joint research team docked. We're running out of space for all the volunteers, she noted. A good problem to have. Trelzax replied, his crystalline form resonating with satisfaction. Though the Purity Coalition continues to gather support in some quarters. Let them watch, Indira said. Let them see what cooperation achieves. The Seers knew that facing the Void Leviathans would require more than technology. It would require us to overcome our fears of each other. The viewport filled with light as a human ship and a Council vessel tested a newly developed joint shield system. The energy patterns were beautiful, a literal harmony of their different approaches to physics. The diplomatic dance, Trelzax mused. That's what my people are calling this period. Two civilizations learning to move together, to trust each other's steps. Poetic, Indira smiled. And accurate. But the real dance is yet to come. When the Leviathans arrive, we'll need every step we've learned. As if to emphasize her words, the long-range sensors pulsed with new data. The Void Leviathans were accelerating. They would arrive sooner than expected. The time for dancing was running out. The terminus crisis. The void Leviathan emerged from intergalactic space like a living tear in reality. Its massive form dwarfed solar systems, trailing streams of radiation that could sterilize entire sectors. Behind it came others, a migration of cosmic entities that had never shown interest in populated galaxies before. Admiral Sharma stood on the bridge of the flagship Unity, a vessel that represented the peak of human council technological integration. Around him, human and alien crew members worked in perfect coordination, their months of preparation about to be tested. First Leviathan approaching the terminus defense line, reported Lieutenant Raina Patel, her radiation-adapted skin glowing with heightened activity. Its energy signature is, it's beyond anything our simulations predicted. Beside her, Council Science Officer Vexnar's crystalline form vibrated with anxiety. The creature's mass is warping spacetime. Standard weapons will be useless. Good thing we don't use standard weapons, Sharma responded. Signal the fleet. Begin Protocol Omega. Across the defensive line, hundreds of hybrid vessels activated their seer-derived technology. Human radiation control systems merged with Council quantum matrices, creating fields of energy that the Leviathans couldn't ignore. Energy fields synchronized, called out Commander Zuktol from his station. The Leviathan is responding. It's changing course. The massive entity turned its attention to the defense fleet, drawn by the familiar radiation signatures. This was the moment of truth. Everything humanity and the Council had built together was about to be tested. Opening communication channels, Raina announced. Broadcasting on all frequencies the seers predicted they might use. The bridge crew waited in tense silence. The Silicon Seers had left detailed instructions about attempting communication with the Leviathans, but no guarantee it would work. Suddenly, the main viewport filled with patterns of light and radiation that made no sense to normal human or council eyes. But to their hybrid sensors, it was language. By the eternal stars, Vexnar whispered, they're actually responding. The patterns continued, becoming more complex. The ship's AI worked to translate, combining human intuition with council processing power. Slowly, meaning emerged. Hunger, need, change. They're dying, Raina realized, analyzing the patterns. The space between galaxies is changing. Their food source is disappearing. More Leviathans appeared behind the first, their massive forms making the void itself seem to ripple. The translation continued. Survival. Consume. Transform. They don't want to destroy the galaxy. Sharma understood. They want to transform it, to make it like their home environment. That's why they ignored populated galaxies before. They had no need. Until now. Admiral. Vexnar interrupted urgently. The Leviathan is gathering energy. If it releases that much radiation, it's not an attack, Sharma said confidently. They're showing us what they need. Raina, activate the harmony matrices. A hybrid fleet began generating new energy patterns, guided by both human radiation expertise and council quantum knowledge. The patterns matched what the Leviathans were producing, but in a controlled, sustainable way. Understand. POSSI diality. Coexist. Yes, Sharma transmitted back, using the ship's combined systems. We can help you adapt, just as we have adapted. There are ways to survive without transforming our galaxy. The Leviathan's response came in waves of complex radiation that their sensors translated into images, vast fields of engineered radiation, carefully controlled areas where the entities could feed without harming populated systems. It was proposing cooperation. They're intelligent, Vexnar marveled, far more than we imagined. They don't want war. They want survival, Sharma finished, something every species understands. Over the next hours, the combined fleet worked with the Leviathans, using their hybrid technology to establish the framework for coexistence. The Silicon Seers had predicted this too. Not a battle for survival, but a chance for something greater. Alert from Council Space. Reyna called out. The Purity Coalition. They're mobilizing their fleet. They're claiming we're cooperating with the enemy. Sharma smiled grimly. Show them the feed. Let them see what real cooperation achieves. The images were broadcast across Council space, human and Council ships working together to communicate with entities that could have destroyed them all. Instead of apocalypse, they were witnessing the birth of a new era. The Leviathans began generating controlled radiation fields, guided by the hybrid fleet's examples. Where there had been chaos and destruction, now there was harmony. The very forces that could have ended civilization were being harnessed to enhance it. Send word to Capital Prime, Sharma ordered. The Terminus crisis isn't just contained, it's becoming an opportunity. The Seers didn't just help us prepare for war. They helped us prepare for peace. As the hybrid fleet continued its work, ships from across Council space arrived to witness what many would later call the greatest diplomatic achievement in galactic history. The day humanity proved that adaptation and cooperation were stronger than fear. The Void Leviathans had come seeking survival. They found something more, a galaxy ready to evolve. A new dawn. 1 year after the Terminus crisis, the Grand Assembly Hall on Capital Prime hosted representatives from every spacefaring civilization. Council members, human delegations, and for the first time, ethereal projections from the Void Leviathans themselves. The hall's advanced environmental systems accommodated thousands of species, from radiation-adapted humans to pure energy beings. Admiral Sharma, now serving as humanity's first Galactic Council member, stood at the central podium. Behind him, holographic displays showed the transformation of the galaxy over the past year. Controlled radiation zones where Leviathans fed safely, hybrid cities where humans and Council species lived together, and the first graduates of the Joint Species Academy. A year ago, we faced what seemed to be an apocalyptic threat, he began. Today, we celebrate not just survival, but renaissance. The Silicon Seers didn't engineer humanity's evolution merely to prevent destruction. They sought to catalyze transformation. In the audience, Ambassador Indira Patel sat beside Trelzax, who had become one of the strongest advocates for human Council integration. They watched as the displays showed the latest breakthrough, a hybrid drive system that could navigate both normal space and the radiation-rich void between galaxies. The Void Leviathan's knowledge of intergalactic space, combined with our hybrid technology, has opened up possibilities we never imagined. Sharma continued. The first expedition to Andromeda will launch next month, crewed by members of every major species. The images shifted to show the expedition fleet under construction, massive ships that represented the peak of combined human, Council, and Leviathan engineering. They would be the first vessels capable of sustaining life in intergalactic space, opening up new frontiers for exploration. Even the former leaders of the Purity Coalition had been swayed by the undeniable benefits of cooperation. The radiation processing techniques developed for communicating with the Leviathans had revolutionary applications in medicine, energy production, and environmental restoration. But our greatest achievement, Sharma said, his voice carrying across the hall, isn't technological. It's the proof that difference isn't destiny, that isolation can breed innovation, that fear can be transformed into fellowship. The hall's central space filled with a living demonstration, a controlled radiation field generated by human engineers, shaped by Council quantum matrices, and inhabited by a young Leviathan. The entity's presence would have been lethal a year ago. Now it was a dance of light and energy, perfectly controlled and breathtakingly beautiful. The Silicon Seers saw this moment, Sharma concluded, not the end of our divisions, but the beginning of our true potential. They knew that only by facing an impossible challenge could we achieve impossible growth. As if in response, the young Leviathan generated patterns of pure energy that the hall's translators converted into words. Harmony, growth, future. Representative Genko's mechanical form approached the podium. The Council recognizes that humanity's emergence from the void sector wasn't just a diplomatic event. It was an evolutionary necessity. The dawn of this new era required all of us: human adaptation, council knowledge, and Leviathan power. The assembly erupted in a chorus of agreement expressed in 1,000 different ways: voices, light patterns, energy pulses, and quantum resonances. Unity achieved not through uniformity, but through celebration of difference. In the far reaches of space, the first hybrid colonies were taking shape. Species that could never have survived in each other's environments now lived and worked together, protected by technology that turned deadly radiation into a life-giving force. The Silicon Seer's legacy wasn't just about survival, it was about transcendence. The void sector, once feared and abandoned, had become the crucible of a new civilization. Human children played in radiation gardens while learning quantum physics from council teachers. Council scientists worked alongside human engineers to develop technologies that defied traditional physics. And above them all, Leviathans danced in carefully maintained energy fields, their ancient knowledge enriching the younger races. As the assembly concluded, Sharma found himself looking out at the stars through the hall's massive viewport. Somewhere out there, he knew, other galaxies were waiting. Other challenges would arise, but they would face them together, stronger for their differences, wiser for their struggles. The Silicon Seer's prophecy had been fulfilled, but it wasn't an ending. It was truly a new dawn, not just for humanity, not just for the Council, but for all life in the galaxy. The void between stars was no longer empty. It was filled with possibility. And somewhere, in the quantum fabric of space-time, the Silicon Seers watched their plan unfold exactly as they had foreseen, 10,000 years ago. The children of the void had not just survived. They had shown the way to a future brighter than anyone had dared to imagine. The story of humanity's emergence was complete, but the greater story was just beginning.